Thank you. Didn't mean to surprise you there. Next is approval of the agenda. What's the wishes of council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Deputy Mayor Angeloni?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Vest?
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcott?
Yes.
Unanimous?
Okay. Next is audience participation. Council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. Council meeting rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. At all times, order and decorum will be maintained in keeping with the civility and dignity of the legislative process. And please sign and state your name, and there's 3 minutes per person. And I also wanted to add that the city would like to remind everyone this is a public forum. Please be respectful during the public comment. No disruptions to city business or threats of any kind will be allowed. Individuals who cannot follow these guidelines will be removed. Any threats against others could result in prosecution. Okay, we will open audience participation. Oh, someone. Thank you. Next. There you go. So Jackie, go for it.
Is on.
That sounds like it.
Good evening, my name is Jackie Goforth. Mayor and City Council, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. As always, I speak for myself, I always have. I want you to know that there is a nonprofit attached to your library named the Friends of the Palmer Public Library. The Palmer Friends of the Public Library applied for a campaign last year under a false name. They used Friends of the Palmer Library. That was not their name, and the reason I know that is because I applied to be a nonprofit myself, because I could not go through the policy. The policy that Palmer has in place right now is you talk to the librarian, and if she doesn't agree, then you have a private hearing. You set up a private hearing that's in these chambers. Nobody can come in, no public, and you're talking to 4 people who are the same people who put the books in the library. That's what happens. So the only other option I have is to form my own nonprofit, which I did, to also get conservative matter into the library. Now, in here, the reason that they used that name is they say they've always been known as that. Since its inception, Friends has informally operated under the name Friends of the Palmer Library. They also say their purpose is to provide nonpartisan support to the Palmer Public Library and provide a channel for the community to express ideas and make suggestions for library use and services. Now, the last 990s, that's a Form 990 that you turn into the IRS when you're a nonprofit, shows that they use the donations they get to buy books and to do programs for children. And quite frankly, it feels like the Pied Piper, Peter Pan, and the coachman and circus owner for Pinocchio. At best, to put your name on a campaign is illegal, okay? It's against 12 AAC 12.012 A and G. You cannot advertise and use your name and get donations through the city. If you're Quaker Oats, you cannot say you're not. You cannot say you're the Salvation Army. You cannot use a name that you do not own. At best, it shows ignorance and naivety and complete chutzpah, especially since they shame and shun us by calling us unformed, untaught, immature, and backward anti-thinkers. At worst, it's money laundering. And what happened, and it's in here, what happened is the donations are not listed anywhere. Nobody knows the amount of donations, nobody knows who donated, nobody knows why those 50 to 60 new books are in the library now, and who bought them. And that is, at best, naivety, and at worst, it's actual money laundering. That's what the dark money campaign law was about. When you run a campaign, you must put who your donors are, you must put down how much. Anyway, I just want you to know that there is a case. It is 24-02-CD. It is an active case with the Alaska State. Thank you. I'm now headed to the borough. Thank you.
Claire, is it okay?
Hello. My name is Claire McKay. I wanted to say first off, I'm a vegetarian. Big shock, I know. It got me thinking one day. My daughter asked me why I don't eat meat, and when I was talking with her about it, I said, I don't really like to eat animals. I understand that a lot of people do, but I don't. There's something about just eating another living thing that really doesn't sit right with me. But I would never go to someone or a public institution and ask them why they dared to serve meat to kids in schools, or why they thought it was right to slaughter another living thing so that kids could, eat that living thing. That's disgusting. Why would you do that? That is not my place. And for the record, that's not actually, I don't feel that way about it. But the point I'm trying to make is my personal beliefs are not the personal beliefs of everyone in the community. And it is not my responsibility to insist that everyone abides by my personal beliefs. I may share those with others, and others may share those with me, but everyone has their own personal beliefs. Parents are in charge of what their children read in the library. In order to get a library card for a child under 18, the parent has to sign off on that. It's part of the process. The parent has to, and I'm sure you've probably all heard this before, but the parent has to sign off on that and acknowledge that they are responsible for what their child checks out. The library itself is a central hub of community and learning for all, regardless of class and creed. And the books that are in it are submitted and filled by patron request and are a reflection of the community itself. So it's your individual freedom that allows you to read what you'd like. But I also wanted to thank the City Council for investing in the community, because you're charged with caring for and leading for the City of Palmer and the greater Palmer area, and with the enormous job of looking into the future. So I appreciate that the City Council is looking forward to fulfilling the library as it needs to be and as a community resource, and providing for the entire community as much as the community has grown, and looking forward into the future for the needs of the community as it grows. Thank you.
Thank you. Janelle Gagnon.
Good evening, Mayor Carrington, Deputy Mayor Anzalati, and Palmer City Councilors. My name is Janelle Gagnon, and thank you for your service to the City of Palmer and for the opportunity to address you all this evening. On Tuesday, July 30th, I had the privilege to volunteer at one of our city's sweetest annual events, the End of Summer Reading Celebration. This took place at the Depot, and over 200 people, mostly parents and children, were there to celebrate reading and their participation in the summer reading program put on by our local library. My volunteer duties at the celebration consisted of making and serving popcorn to reading revelers. I was astounded that I would have to field questions from parents about what protesters were doing outside the Depot, holding signs that attacked libraries and librarians with accusations of grooming children and offering porn in their holdings. It was gross, it was profane, and frankly, it was weird. As one mother said to me, I'd never imagined that in attending this event today, I was going to have to explain to my young child what the word porn means. Remember, this was an event that was celebrating reading and young readers. The very children that protesters were purportedly saving were able to read their signs with profane and absurd messages on them, and yet, not knowing what those words mean, turned to their trusted adult, their parents or their guardians, to ask them what the words meant. On top of it all, parents had to navigate around one of the protesters who was handing out pamphlets to event goers and other passersby that included pictures of male genitalia. How are the protesters' messages and actions in this case not a transgression upon the very children they purport to be saving? And shouldn't those parents have been afforded the right to attend that event with their children without being assaulted by said messages and actions? I'm not here to dispute someone's right to protest, nor would any librarian I know. It is the mission of libraries everywhere to uphold the basic democratic rights for all citizens and to help them find the information they need to make knowledgeable choices to better exercise those basic rights. However, we as fellow citizens need to question the motivations of such protestations. Is it really to save children, or is it driven by some perverse drive of their own to use such language around young children, couched in a mission to save them? It's offensive on so many levels. And as someone who has worked my whole adult life on behalf of children and families as a teacher, a librarian, in social services, and in community outreach for Head Start programs, I can tell you that grooming is a real issue and child sex abuse is a real issue here in the Mat-Su Valley, more than most other places in the United States. And I can tell you that the predominant demographic of groomers, abusers, and traffickers is not your local librarians, and that by tolerating the perverse actions and words of these protesters, we are making a mockery of children who have actually been targets of such abuse. Surely we can find a way to both protect everyone's right to protest and also protect our community's children from the kind of perverse messaging and actions experienced by those around the depot that afternoon of July 30th. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you. Nikki Otten.
Hello, my name is Maggie Obi-Wan Kenobi. And just thank you all for letting me speak. I sent you all emails, so you already kind of know what I'm saying, but I felt passionate enough about what happened at the event that Janelle just addressed that I felt like I had to come down and say it to your faces also. I attended the end of summer library reading program on July 30th, and me and my daughter participated in the summer reading program all summer long. We filled out the little thing, we did all the stamps, we went to Library Weekly, we went to several events like the Fun Run, and we also attended an art class at the Pavilion. It was a great event, so thank you to the city for supporting the library that we can do events like that. Thank you to all the librarians who organized that. It was really great. And then we attended the final party. It's a celebration at the end. And I was not expecting to see what I saw when I walked up to the depot. Luckily, it was only 4 people, because I don't think they have a lot of support behind them. But there were people, like Janelle mentioned, holding signs talking about porn. And they were luckily not given to me, but to my mom. Someone was passing out pictures of male genitalia. I'll circle back to that. I should have kept my mouth shut, but I was very surprised. And I just said to Jackie Goforth Ivy, whatever her last name is, was the one organizing the event. And I said to her and her friend who comes to a lot of these meetings that I thought what they were doing was obscene. I just said that very, very flatly, because it was. And her friend just got off and started yelling, like in my face, like aggressively yelling at me for saying that I thought it was obscene. And my daughter was there with me, 5-year-old daughter, and I just had to walk away. And so we got, done with the event, and it was really fun. And that night, when I put her to bed, she asked me if the mean lady that was at the depot was going to take her away. So it wasn't peaceful protest, it was aggressive, and it was harmful to children who they say they're protecting. Sorry, I shouldn't have got emotional, but it was just really upsetting that happens at a city event that was supposed to be family-friendly, safe for children, and here these people are being so aggressive when there's a child present. And going back to the flyer, my mom brought it, so if you don't believe it, it's real. She brought it, and she can show you. I would not put that in anyone's face. But the people did. They put it in her face. She didn't ask for this thing. They put it in her face. And the thing upsetting about that is my daughter goes to her house all the time. What if my mom didn't know what this piece of paper was and she put it in a bag? My daughter could be finding this. So this thing that they are trying to protect them from at the library was shoved into our house. And that book that is so obscene to them, it's in an adult book. In the adult section, a child cannot find it unless you, as a parent, are allowing your child to go to the adult nonfiction sexual education section. And if you are a parent allowing your kid to do that, that is your choice. I don't let my child do that, so she wouldn't have found that, except by these protesters doing their behaving that way.
Thank you. Carol Obi.
I'm the mom. I didn't want to come here tonight. You guys just keep having me come. I'd rather be at home. My name is Carol Ryan Obie. I taught at Palmer High for 20 years, and I live off Inner Springer, right in back of the fairgrounds. And thank all of you for being here and supporting the libraries. I went on July 30th with my grandkids and their parents to the Palmer Summer Reading Program finale. I saw the 4 people outside, and I pulled in, and I went in, and it was crowded. It was packed in there. It was so cool. Everybody was having so much fun. There were, I mean, the excitement, it was amazing for our small town. It was like, it was amazing. So I was like, okay, what's going on outside? Who are these people? What are they about? I never walked up and talked to one before. So I saw their signs, they had porn and obscene on the signs, and I asked if I could take a picture of them. I don't know why. I just wanted to have something, you know, about them. And they handed me a pamphlet, and I'm not going to show it to you. If you want to see it, you can ask to see it. It's really not appropriate. And they handed me a pamphlet, and I didn't want to open it. And they grabbed it, one of the ladies grabbed it out of my hands and put it right up in my face. I'm sure to shock me. I felt like I was back in, you know, school when some kid was harassing me because I have a speech problem. You know, it was just pure harassment to hold this up and show it to somebody. She lied to me and said it was in the children's section. I have talked to somebody at the library, and it is not. It is in the adult nonfiction section under sex ed. If I would have opened up that book in the library, you know, I could have read the outside, I would have known what it was about. It wouldn't have bothered me. But having somebody flash it right in front of my face. So even when I took this home, I was afraid that my grandson was gonna get it, and I put it down, and I didn't know where it was, and I searched the house, and I found it again. I mean, how about if it would have fallen out of somebody's pocket, and some kid would have gone around and just opened it? Or how about if a parent, not thinking, got home, cleaned out their pockets, and kids opened it? You don't show this to children. These, what did I call them in my letter? I didn't send you guys a copy in time, but I'll send you a copy. How about, you know, these book banners, these people who hate the library? There's something really wrong, like really wrong. They have a list of books that they want banned. So I got one at the library the other day, and I went and read this book, but it's a banned book, so you kind of wonder what's in it. And it's an excellent book. It's an excellent book. So to end, I really want you to know, get going on our new library. Whatever needs to be done, please get it all set so we can get a new library and read banned books, because there's some really good, some aren't so good, but okay.
Thank you. Heidi Dedman.
Okay, so I brought the perspective, brought the perception. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that. I'm sorry. Really upset by what I'm hearing. I'm sorry. My name is Heidi Dedman. I'm going to give you a summer reading program report. I believe our librarian sent this to you all this afternoon with more information. But I just want to put some numbers out there because I think they're pretty important for people to hear what the library is doing. We gave out 611 reading logs
over the course of 8 weeks, because the summer reading program is a total of 8 weeks. Reading logs are set up, designed to have people track their reading each week, and then they come in. We had special buttons made, so they got a whole collection of buttons if they completed their summer reading program. They got to put in for prizes as well. So each time they would come in each week, they would get a new button and an entry into the grand prize drawing. And so we had, okay, glasses are helpful, sorry. 4,353 engagements, 16 passive programs offered. That's just our passive programs. That means we give away craft kits and some other things that are educational and interesting. Usually goes along with the summer reading program theme or the monthly theme that we usually do. Our total program participation was 5,886 points of contact across 70 programs. So that would include passive programs and active programs. And that 5,886 points of contact would be the number of times that they engaged with a library person regarding their reading log or actually coming to programs and being involved in that kind of a thing. So I'm not going to give you too much more on that. I did want to address something that Mrs. Goforth talked about earlier. You don't have to create a nonprofit corporation to give money to the library and request books that you would like to see in the library. We actually have a suggested purchase form on our website. If you want to see something in the library that we don't have or we can't get, you are welcome to fill that out. And the library will get it if it falls within the parameters of our collection development policy, and it's something that we believe will circulate because other people would also be interested in it. You can also give money to the library directly and specify the genre of books that you would like to see. So if you want conservative children's books, you can give money to the library and ask for conservative children's books, and we will be happy to do that. You don't need a whole corporation for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter House.
Good evening.
Hello.
It's my first time here. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, thank you all for the work that you do. Attorney, manager, city clerk, and the individual in the back as well. All working hard to help us out. So I'm just here real quickly to talk about my support for the library and my view about the value that it brings and how special it is to our community. Turns out I really like books. And as you know, roughly 80% of the voters in Palmer really like books and support the library as well too. But I want to just give you a little bit more of a deeper perspective. For me, I've lived here since about 2007, and one of the areas of pride in our community has been the library itself. Family members would first come out, show them around town, be like, that's our library. It's humble, but it's mighty. And it's really well located as well too. And, as my kids, grew up and, started learning, where did they go? And that's one thing that's really special about the library. It's just a service that's nearly cradle to grave. It has something that appeals to everybody at every age group. In fact, about 9 years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury, and as a result, kind of lost the ability to read. And the library helped, right? I had to read, it was about a year and a half, I had to read about a book a week. And, the contents didn't matter. I just had to learn how to sequence the symbols and get back to reading. And pretty proud of the library and, of course, personal books as well, too. So the library plays a really important role, and I view it as a crown jewel within our community as well, too. It's a rising tide that raises all ships. You think about it. You come in, you check a book or two out. Maybe you're going to pop across the street and grab a sandwich. And hey, while I'm grabbing a sandwich, there's a couple of things I've been meaning to to purchase, so I'm going to pop into a store or two and walk out. You get the complete package right there in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half's worth of time. That's an afternoon, an evening, a weekend. And that makes for a very powerful and special experience. It's a shared third space. It invites civic engagement. It invites connection. It invites growth, knowledge, and learning. All of those things that are the foundation of a strong democracy, a strong, thriving community, and an abundant and thriving marketplace. The library is a very special place to all of us, and I just want you to know how I feel about it, share my view. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've made it through our list. Is there anyone else that wanted to do audience participation?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Frank Bell. I also attended the summer reading program's final party last week. Saw a couple of you there, and it was a wonderful event. It was so much fun for the kids. It was fun for the families. They had little duck ponds with prizes and face painting and coloring books and balloons, and had a couple of police officers there cooking hot dogs. It was really a great time. 270 plus people attended that event. 274 if you count the protesters that were outside, which you've already heard a lot about today. But everybody was there to have a good time, and we did have a good time anyway. But the last thing that anybody wants when going into an event like that is to be accosted by people in the parking lot talking about pornography, pedophilia, and handing out pictures of cartoon penises. You know, my 5-year-old daughter and I were there. Despite that, it was a great time. And that summer reading program is largely funded by the Friends of the Palmer Library. The party itself is largely funded by the Friends of the Palmer Library. That's what this organization is actually doing. And as you can see, 270 of us were there to attend that event because we as a community know that these people are not evil. They are not Satanists. They are not pedophiles. They are not groomers. And they certainly are not shadow communists hell-bent on indoctrinating our children through books in the library. And it is disappointing that there's a small group of people that would spend so much time trying to cripple that organization and trying to hurt our librarians when all they're doing, we know as a community, is supporting a vital resource. I really love to think about what it would look like if those people put as much time, effort, and resources into doing something good, rather than something that everybody knows is not good for anybody. Anyway, just wanted to speak to that. And though they have tried to cripple the Friends of the Palmer Library, and they've tried to have librarians removed, they have failed to do that. And they may succeed in getting some of the books they want removed, and that's fine. I don't have anything against people trying to get content removed from the library that they want to see removed, as long as it's done through the proper channels and we adhere to the guidelines in place. But when it comes to attacking the Friends and attacking librarians, they have failed to do that. And they will continue to fail to do that because we as a community know what those organizations are actually doing. We experienced it last week, and it was a great time for everybody. It's just unfortunate that we had to get past a few loud people accosting us on the way in. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for audience participation? Mike, the bookend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Mike Malewski. I live in downtown Palmer. And I was listening as everyone spoke tonight, and I thought, well, I can't add anything. They have been eloquent. They have been speaking from their heart and their experience and all the rest. And then I said, okay, now wait a second. I have been coming to these meetings far too many times. Sometime I will stop and you won't see me here anymore. But what my point is, I began to think that each evening, if people come and speak to the evils of librarians, I walk away and say, well, I know the librarians. This does not seem to be accurate. And then I finally said, you know, okay, wait a second. Maybe I should turn the perspective around a little bit. And I'm looking at 7 people who sit on the council, okay? And I began to think, well, when will you be moved to either action or a solution? Because really what I understand is being asked, and not only by those people who are contending that there are evils in the library, but all of the people who have spoken in favor of the library, they really are asking for you all collectively to take action. And I finally said, you know, maybe it's time to underline that and remind that just listening, while it's a good thing to do, to be a listener, may not be enough in this case. And so I'm encouraging you, because I've watched you take action on a whole bunch of very difficult topics in the past, and I believe that can be done. And I don't have a particular action that I'm telling you to take, because I don't sit where you sit, and you have far more perspective of what could be done. But it's time. I think it's time. And it really rests with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will close audience participation. Next is public hearings. Resolution number 24-032, authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate an in-kind donation from Backcountry Bike and Ski to upgrade the Palmer Bike Patrol e-bike seats, remote levers, and pedals. So we will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this specific resolution can come forward and do so. Okay, seeing no one, will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved to second. Is there any comments or questions of council? Yes, Mr. Cooper.
Probably more rhetorical about the police officers, that they need a padded seat when they're riding their bicycles, but at least they're out there doing it. Thanks, Chief.
Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just kind of wanted to comment that I think this is a really cool thing that Backcountry Bike and Ski is doing. I mean, it's nice to get this done. I don't know how many more months of Palmer Bicycle Patrol has left, but it's certainly nice to see city businesses step up and do these kind of things. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, and thank you.
Councilman Tudor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to mirror the comments to the council member to my left here. It's very humbling to see just the appreciation that the police have with the business community around town. It says a lot. So it's great that they're doing this. Thank you.
And I'll just add that I've seen them in action Sunday. My son and I went and biked with the Blue, and they work really well. They have sirens and lights and everything. All right, if there's nothing else, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yes, sorry, Councilman Best.
As a comment, Backcountry Bike and Ski, them as a community engagement aspect of this, I'd like to have maybe a letter from you and council thanking them for this. That I think it's commendable when we see businesses. We've seen other businesses do it throughout the years, really stepping up when there was a need within the community, and they just take it upon themselves to do it. So I appreciate that.
And I'll remind people that I think this idea came out last year as under audience participation, suggesting that our cops, we should have some cops ride bikes during the summertime. And so it was kind of, and we had individuals make donations to help with getting those bikes too. So, okay, anything else? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Angelotti,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right, resolution number 24-033, authorizing and appropriating funds from the general fund in the principal amount not to exceed $21,487.21 for the repairs to the TCM restoration to the Alaska State Troopers Evidence Freezer Room. This is a public hearing. We'll open that public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this specific resolution, don't make me say the name, title again. Please come forward. Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve?
Second.
Go ahead.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Councilman Cooper, you're quick on the draw there.
I have a question, and I think we've talked about this before, about a reimbursement by the state. You know, we're doing something for the state of Alaska Troopers. Granted, it's in our building, but it's for their holdings and their lockers. Do we get any reimbursement, or do we even bill the state for that?
Interim manager, Gina Davis.
The Trooper Evidence Freezer Room, that was something that happened with the windstorm in January of 2022. And the damage was done to this freezer, and like they had stored game meat in it, and it had all thawed and destroyed the walls, the flooring, and so it is all going to be reimbursed by insurance to repair this area, and that's what this is for.
Okay. Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I was having the same kind of thought process, but I like the fact that it's going to be reimbursed by insurance, and we're effectively the landlord and the state troopers are the tenant. Is that correct? That's why we're paying this bill up front and then getting reimbursed.
That is correct, John.
All right, Councilman Best.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have one question. Ed, in the summary statement, it talks about that this was due to the power outage, and that my question is, how are we protected now from power outage? Is there a backup generator that's going to be in support of that facility?
I would like to call up Jude Billifer, the Public Works Director.
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Jude Billifer. There is backup generation at that exact location. The issue during that windstorm was the continuous power surges. So the generator would kick on, kick off, kick on, kick off repeatedly over the course of those days, and it fried the control panel, the circuit panels that allowed the transfer of that generation, that generated power to the facility. And so inside, just so folks are aware, inside the Palmer PD AST building, it's one building, there are actually 3 independent generators. The problem is they are not redundant. So if the circuit panel of one goes out, like in this case on the AST side, we had no ability to divert the power from either dispatch's generator or from Palmer PD side generator to that facility. We are in the process of working with FEMA. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting this morning with FEMA representatives to try to consolidate and do a mitigation type project to put one large generator at the public safety building and then have it all wired so that one generator would control that entire building. Not 100% sure I will be successful at that, but that was what our meeting was today. And as you all know, it takes a significant amount of time dealing with the federal agencies for money for projects. So yes, there is a backup generator. It did work, but it went on and off enough that the control panel, that's what failed.
Okay, follow up, sir?
No, I'm happy to hear that there is a solution in being searched for. Hopefully it comes before we need it.
We've also, another piece that we are working on, we have engaged MEA. There are no line conditioners on any public building in the city of Palmer. And
the 2022 storm it illustrated the need for these perfectly. So what that is that handles on the line itself these surges. So initially, everybody thought we were going to be okay because we had UPS boxes and things like that to protect our computers and protect our circuit boards. They failed across the city, and I won't bore you with all the details. And it's because the surges were so great through the power lines that our UPS boxes failed. And you just heard me talk about control panels because the generators couldn't keep on. So MEA has been very good about this, working with me to try to install these actual line conditioners, which would prevent those large surges. Because we all know, we lived here for a while, we're going to have winter storms. It's just a facet of life here. On that vein, I will also share with you that MEA is doing a great job for us with Public Works responsiveness. We had an inordinate number of power surges and outages at the wastewater treatment plant these last several years. MEA is redoing all the main transmission lines south of Palmer right now to the wastewater treatment plant as a result of our inquiries and working with them. So in a public setting, our kudos from me to them, their willingness to work with us. Sorry, I dovetailed, but it is a work in progress and it's going.
Thank you. Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Billefer. In a previous life, when I was younger than the guy to my right, as chief of staff for FEMA, I can tell you that these things are frustrating. For the FEMA's a recovery operation. It's not really a response operation. It's a recovery piece. When things happen in January 2022, and they don't get fixed until April 2024 because people are battling insurance or hazard mitigation or different things, I know it's frustrating for the people that have to deal with it as it is for the public. When I look at something like I do now that I've been out of it for 25 years, I kind of go, why does this take from, why does this take 2 years for this to, 2 years plus for this to get fixed? But I appreciate it being fixed, and I appreciate the fact that insurance is going to reimburse us. So thank you for the explanations.
Councilman Tudor.
Mr. Mayor, I'm probably going to mess this up here, but I was talking to an electrician a while ago. They're doing a presentation with a group I'm at about how they have the ability to have those circuit breakers in the circuit breaker panel that protect against brownouts and also surges. But is there a possibility to get those, is something like that installed where we don't have to worry about, I mean, I really appreciate what MEA is doing, but just in case, so we have something inside the building that would trip and help protect the electronic equipment?
There are those components out there. Unfortunately, we do not have them right now. And just to give you an example, uniformity is a good thing. So for the wastewater treatment plant, I'll just share with you, we have numerous lift stations. All of those control panels, we want to be the same. Okay, they're easier to diagnose, they're easier to fix and replace. Those circuit panels are upwards of $30,000 a panel. And they do not have that item in there. It would be very expensive to replace all of them to update to that. So that's why we're searching for other alternate means.
All right. Are we ready to vote then? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anzalotti?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Unanimous?
All right, now action memoranda. Action memorandum number 24-042, directing the city manager to authorize Northern Plumbing and Heating LLC to renovate the collapsed drain lines at the Palmer Police Department in the amount not to exceed $34,500. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any, we want any kind of staff report or have questions for staff? Councilman Cooper.
Either or, but the question I have is, this really isn't a new expenditure. It's actually, we're asking to take $34,500 from the $50,000 that we had in the paint project, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so there's really no, when it talks about legislating creates expenditure in the amount of, there's really not an additional expenditure, it's just a transfer of funds.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to vote then? Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anzalotti? Yes. Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantra?
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, next is action memorandum number 24-044, directing the city manager to notify the state of Alaska of the city council statement of non-objection of the package store license renewal for Iron Horse Liquor number 1195.
Mr. Mayor,
What's the wishes of the council?
could we bundle the 3Ds?
Um,
Does the attorney have any objection to that?
No objection. Do we want to bundle these?
Please.
So, okay, so how do I word that? Just read all three?
Well, yeah, and then whoever's gonna make the motion needs to move to approve and then say that each one of them, all three of them together. Or you can read them, but just
Okay.
remember it's the important part.
So I've read the one. The second one would be action memorandum number 24-045, directing the city manager to notify the state of Alaska of the city council's statement of non-objection of the beverage dispensary license number 1194 for Caboose Lounge. And action memorandum number 24-046, directing the city manager to notify the state of Alaska of the city council statement of non-objection of the combined package store number 119 and beverage dispensary license renewal for Palmer Ale House. So we have all three of these. Is someone,
Move to approve?
so-
All three together, bundled?
and that's 24-045, 46, and 49.
4, 5, and 4, 6.
Oh, sorry. 44, 45, 46. Got it. All right. Is there any questions on the motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Best.
Have we received any emails in opposition of these businesses retaining their license since the publication?
Madam Clerk.
No, we have not.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments from council? All right. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll for the approval of the three action memorandum?
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anzalotti?
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantra?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right. Next is action memorandum number 24-049, authorizing the mayor to execute the city manager's employment agreement with Stephen Jelly. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve. Second?
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there Councilman Best?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to bring something to light that there was a news article that has been bounced around from a previous situation.
Sir, I'm not sure that that relates to the contract.
It is germane, and I'd like to ask the attorney before we approve the contract.
Okay. What,
So at this stage, and Gina, please interrupt me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is there's been a written offer and acceptance for this position to Mr. Jelly. That they negotiated, Mr. Jelly and the mayor and HR negotiated and then gave the terms, and then the terms that they agreed on were shared with me and based on past managers' contracts put into the contract before you and incorporated. So at this point, the offer's already been accepted and written, offered and accepted. So it's an analysis before you is if you agree to the terms of the contract before the council today.
Councilman Alcantra.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Johnny, the corrector here. I just wanted to point out, maybe I'm missing something on page 44, so the first page of the agreement. Under letter C, I see a parens 1, a parens 2, and a parens 4, no parens 3 that I can find, and I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, and that's either misnumbered or I'm supposed to skip to skip 3 altogether. Under it is the desire of the city council.
Under C?
Yeah, under C, page 44, the beginning of the agreement.
I believe,
There is nothing, that is a typo, and that will be amended.
so that the 4 should become a 3 in the final drawing.
That is
Done.
correct.
Okay. And as far as the contract, I'll just comment that in negotiating with Mr. Jelly, he was very forthcoming and offering information to me as things came up, and so that I was satisfied with, being comfortable going forward with this. I know there's been a lot of different things out in Facebook land, but I've also grown horns, so. Councilman Alcantara.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor, thank you. And just, I'm reading on page 46 correctly, because if I understand what's happening now via an email that it says it's effective September 3rd, 2024 or earlier. Am I to understand that City Manager Jelly will begin on August 19th?
I believe that is our understanding. Yes, that was
Thank
part
you.
of what
That is correct.
Thank you.
what I negotiated, but I guess we didn't get that. We'll get that updated in there
Well,
as well. Or it
the
says
original
earlier.
draft says September 3rd or earlier. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions of council? Okay, we ready to vote then? Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anzalati?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous.
And then being this is a special meeting, we didn't have all sorts of other normal things, so I guess we are adjourned. 6:52. Wow, yes, yes. Oh, yeah. You're going to Kodiak, aren't you?